And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Monday, April 3rd. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. We thank you for joining us here on Coleman and Company, and we welcome Don Hamlet this morning to talk about Absolute Kubota. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
I'm doing well. Did your weekend go well?
Awesome. Good long weekend for me. It was great.
Avoid the storms?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
Yes, that was my goal.
Well, there's some people not too far away who suffered some damage.
They did. Yes.
Over at Reedyville, I believe.
Yes, Susan and I were just talking about that. It was kind of bad out there in some areas.
Well, it's things are lovely at Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main.
Yes, they are. We've got lots of things going. I know this starts a new quarter for us. This weekend, I was looking at the new rebate options and the finance options and everything. You know, that stuff kind of cycles through about a 3-month. It can change at any time, but typically it cycles through about a 3-month cycle. I was looking. They still got lots of zero downs, 0% financing. They got some good rebates on some different things. So we've got lots of equipment. As long as there's some people out there that need something, we can get everybody going.
With the terms that you have, with the deals that you can make, anybody that really wants something has very little reason to say no.
There is. I guess if you wanted something, you didn't have any money, the best thing to do if you had good credit is you could come in and buy pretty much any piece of equipment that we have there on the ground, zero money out of your pocket that day. You could bring a trailer with you and drive home with a new lawnmower or a new tractor, new excavator, no money out of your pocket, no payments for 30 days, and get going on it.
Now, you do a credit check, I'm sure. I mean, you've
Sure.
got to make sure that you've got a reasonable chance of them paying for what.
Yeah, as long as you've got a decent credit score and you don't owe more than you make every month, that's going to be called your debt to income ratio. There's absolutely no reason you can't get one.
And the quality of Kubota is something we talk about from time to time. And I don't know how good it was when it came into this country, but I think it was pretty good then, maybe even excellent. But you have excellent. You have.
Oh yeah.
They're built well. They last a long time. They're a good product.
I mean, you take all of our different products. You would have a Kubota tractor, L series tractors. The warranties are going to be 2 years bumper to bumper, and then 6 years on the engine and transmission. I mean, that's 6 years. That's a long time. And then we've got some of our lawnmower brands that have 5-year or 1,500-hour warranties. So if you get to thinking about those kind of things, it's kind of, I'm not going to say that there aren't problems from time to time because they're made by human beings. But, I mean, when you think you can come in and have it taken care of, no money out of pocket and just keep rolling, it's great options.
Well, you have a great location there, too, at 1506 West Main. And I think you might even have more to display now than you had a year or 18 months ago.
The other day, me and a customer, we were looking at looking on GPS about how to get to our store. I just pulled it up and hit satellite view from about a year ago. I might have had 8 or 10 pieces of equipment sitting on my yard. I think now I'll probably have some 60 pieces of equipment sitting outside.
It has changed.
It has changed dramatically, and then even with people are all the time thinking about what the interest rates are for houses and all those different things. It's just amazing that Kubota, has been able to maintain, because they are Kubota. When you borrow money for a Kubota piece of equipment, you're borrowing it from Kubota. So it's not like it's going through, any regional bank or national bank or anything. So that's how they can do the zero down, 0% interest.
Well, how's your lawnmower business right now?
Got tons of them. Got a few in the back that need to be still set up, but we've got everything from, a little 42-inch homeowner. I was out back the other day. There's an 88-inch commercial lawnmower back there. There's 96-inch commercial batwing lawnmowers back there. So anything in between those two, trimmers, backpack blowers, handheld blowers, all that stuff. It is the time of the year to aerate and overseed your lawn again. If you don't have the equipment to do it, we have rental equipment.
Yeah.
We have a machine that you can stand on and ride around in your yard and aerate, seed, and fertilize at the exact same time without pushing or pulling or tugging or anything on your own. So you've got that. We've got excavators. We've got a little small BX tractor with a loader and a backhoe on it in our rental fleet. Got lots of different things going on down there. As far as your seed and your fertilizer, your pine straw, a lot of people put in their yard pine straw. We've got all that stuff there ready to go.
Well, here again, as far as renting, if it's a piece of equipment that you're not going to use a lot but need sporadically, renting may be the way to do it.
You can call Clint. He will be glad to get you fixed up.
Everything from weed eaters to hay balers, I'll say it for you this
That's
morning.
it.
That's your line, though.
I'll take credit for that one.
All at 1506 West Main, and Don Hamlet is the leading salesperson. You and Caleb?
Caleb, that's right.
Caleb Aronimus and Don Hamlet in sales at Absolute Kubota.
Come see us.
All right, thanks. Have a good week. We'll do it again next.
See you next Monday.
All right. Don Hamlet with Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon, and they are open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's Saturdays 8 to noon now. Is that right?
That is right.
That's right, as he's going out the door. Okay, 10 minutes after the hour. State Representative Susan Lynn is with us this morning, live in studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
I think 2 weeks ago you called in. I didn't know which you would want to do today, but you were here before me this morning.
I was.
And it's good to see you. And I guess we ought to get right into things. We've got a lot to talk about. And last week was a tough week for all of us. And I think it may have been even tougher for you people in the legislature, and especially something that happened last week that I guess we need to talk about this morning.
Well, I don't know how it could have been any tougher for us in the legislature. I think all of Tennessee is suffering. Coleman, on Sunday, we lost 5 children and one 18-year-old, so really a youth killed in a horrific car crash in Robertson County. On Monday, 3 children and 3 adults were murdered, really, by a mentally ill woman in Nashville, and she was taken down by the police officers. Then on Thursday, 9 soldiers were killed in Kentucky. Fort Campbell area, but of course that, they may have resided in Tennessee while they're on duty. We don't know. And then on Friday night, Saturday morning, 15 people killed across Tennessee in tornadoes. It was the week that was. I can't remember another week like that at all. I can't.
Well, you had an incident that involved the House, and Senator Pody was here Friday, and he said it was pretty calm and serene, really, in the Senate, but it wasn't so in the House, and there was some disruption there that shouldn't have been. And if you'd tell us about that.
Sure. On Thursday, we meet for session at 9 a.m., and 3 members apparently were involved with orchestrating a huge protest for gun control at the state capitol. And Coleman, I literally got to the Capitol on Thursday morning, 6:30 a.m., and I just doing some work before committee was at 8 a.m. and then sessions at 9 a.m. Had no idea any of that was going on. But as we were leaving committee, they said, be careful, there's protesters outside. Had no idea. Got over to the chamber, and a couple of the guys had gone outside on the balcony and said, wow, you've got to see the crowd outside. Went outside, could not believe the enormity of the crowd. And of course, and people are right, they're sitting in the gallery, and, they had signs, T-shirts, all of that. When we got off the elevators, they were shouting at us, screaming at us, really, wanting gun control, all of that. And it was in relation to the horrific murders at the Covenant School. And so, that is not how you get legislation done. But I certainly totally appreciate people's right to express themselves. It's just that in the House, it did get very disorderly in the chamber. Some of the members who orchestrated got up front at the podium with a megaphone, and they were cheering on or encouraging the people sitting in the gallery, that's the balcony above the chamber, to, get disorderly and stuff. Some of them spit over the gallery. They were yelling at, and that's how, hey, the speaker took control and brought order.
That's totally out of order, isn't it, for
Oh,
a
yes.
member of the House to
Yes.
get up and do that?
Completely and utterly out of order. And so today, what happened was all leadership, Democrat, Republican, went outside on the balcony so that they could confer. The Democrat leadership came back in. They went to their members at the podium and said, stop this now. Other Democrat members actually went up to them and yelled at them to stop. And they were yelling, Democrats yelling at Democrats. So then their leader said, everybody into the clerk's office. So the Democrats went and conferred in the clerk's office. The Republicans went back out on the balcony. And, we discussed, what we wanted to do. Did we want to adjourn? Did we want to keep moving forward with our business? And we all said, no, we want to keep moving forward with our business. Speaker, we believe that you can maintain order, and the Democrat leader will certainly get her members to understand that we have to have order and we can finish our business. So we did. We finished our business. They did try, to make comments that were personal attacks. And, these members are new. They're young. They just got there. And, I don't think they realize the rules of decorum. You don't personally attack people on the floor. You have to respect the opinions of members from other districts. So no personal attacks. Whenever we're talking about addressing someone about their legislation, we're simply talking about that legislation, not personally attacking someone and not going off and talking about something else completely unrelated to the legislation, which is what they kept trying to do. And like I said, they're young. They don't understand the rules of decorum, and certainly, we hope that they will. Now, today there's going to be a caucus meeting, and some members want to expel these members. I certainly want to hear the evidence. I'm sure that there's lots of stuff we don't know. I did talk to leadership over the weekend, but about other matters. I talked to other members over the weekend, and just to try to get a feeling for what people want to do. Everybody wants to hear
I take
the evidence.
it worst case scenario for them would be to be expelled, and maybe a lesser thing would be to be reprimanded and so on.
Yeah.
So somewhere from one extreme to the other is probably what's going to happen then.
According to the rules, they could be arrested on misdemeanors. So I don't know what will happen. But, for me, that it wasn't a traumatizing experience. It was certainly unusual. I've never seen anything like it ever. The state police, unbelievable. They are, and our sergeant at arms, they were wonderful. Some of the legislators just trying to get to the bathroom were kind of manhandled and all of that. But the troopers were there, and they helped us. We don't have we don't have restrooms in the chamber, and some of us ladies, we needed to use the restroom and all that. And so it was. It was a little dangerous. I hated putting the troopers at risk to go outside of the chamber because, they're the ones trying to keep the crowd back. And it was a very dangerous situation because there's a huge staircase there. Citizens, people who were there at that protest could have fallen backwards down the staircase very easily for all the pushing and shoving. It was a scary situation. That staircase is enormous. It's solid stone. I can't imagine if there had been something as awful as that.
Okay, we need to take a break. State Representative Susan Lynn is my guest this morning here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's 7:18. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota, where premium brands require premium parts and service. Contact Absolute Kubota's Elite Certified Service Department to schedule an appointment. 449-6171. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning, THP on the scene of a couple of accidents out here in the last 10, 15 minutes. Just give yourself a little bit of extra time just to play it safe, especially coming down through parts of Wilson County. It's pretty saturated this morning in certain areas there on I-40 in Wilson County with plenty of radar. Dixon County traffic's on the increase, 40 east coming past 840. Nash Painting, they service all of Middle Tennessee. Listen, if you're considering getting your house painted this spring and summer, check with these guys first. They are #1 in residential and commercial. What does that tell you? NashPainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Hello, Cumberland baseball fans. I'm Tyler Hughes from Dyer, Tennessee, and I'm an outfitter on the Phoenix baseball team. We are currently ranked 18th in the nation and are in first place in the Mid-South Conference. But we have a tough conference opponent in Campbellsville coming to town this weekend for a 3-game series, Friday and Saturday. Come on out to the 6 and check us out or listen on WANT 98.9 FM, WCOR 1490 AM, online at WANTFM.com or GoCumberlandAthletics.com. Check out our website for possible changes due to weather. Let's go Phoenix.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
And we continue here on a Monday morning. State Representative Susan Lynn. Your district is
57.
57. All right. You have a good portion of Wilson County. You and Clark Boyd have split most of it, and there's a little sliver for Representative Hale up at
That's right.
in DeKalb County.
That's right. And he's doing a great job. Unfortunately, Reedyville is in his district, and it really suffered a big hit in the tornado. I called members whose districts suffered in the tornado, Deborah Moody, Mike Hale, and Kip Capley. And I told them what the wonderful response Wilson County had, Mount Juliet had. And I said, if your locals need anyone to talk to, please have them call Mount Juliet, our county mayor. They're very experienced in the cleanup after a tornado because, that's how you try to get back, going again and get things back to normal.
Well, let's get back to what's going to happen today, and there are people who are wanting gun control measures to be implemented, and I know you have your own idea about this, and share that with us if you will.
Yeah, over the weekend, an email went out again, I suppose by the same group. They're encouraging high school students to walk out of school today, go to the state capitol to rally for gun control. And after session on Thursday, one of the Democrat members called me, and he was calling other people to apologize for his colleagues and just say, we don't all feel that way and we weren't involved in all of that. And I was like, oh, I know that. I realize it was only them. I know you well. And I happen to know that he has a loved one who has a severe and persistent mental illness, and I do too. And I said to him, why don't we form a caucus? Any caucus we form outside of the Republican caucus or Democrat caucus has to be bipartisan. And I said, why don't we form a caucus on mental health issues where those of us who have an interest in this can meet and bring in speakers, listen to them, form legislation for mental health issues, because that is the severe need. It's, not gun control. That person that young woman who murdered those students and those administrator and the teachers at the Covenant School had a mental health issue, and obviously it wasn't addressed properly. I would love to ask her parents if they would like to come into a closed caucus meeting just so that we could hear from them and have them tell us what went right, what went wrong in your child's, journey through mental illness. Because so many things can go wrong, and most of the time they don't end up in a horrific tragedy like this.
What are the chances of this becoming real, to have this?
Well, I talked to my leadership over the weekend, and they said, yes, absolutely. I talked to Senate leadership, too, and they are looking for, we're thinking maybe this will be a joint caucus with the Senate. And the Democrat who I spoke to, he talked to his leadership over the weekend. In fact, he copied me on his email to his leadership. And so everybody is really willing to do this. We actually don't have any other caucuses right now other than, there's the Republican caucus, the Democrat caucus, I think there's the Black caucus, and that's it. So we can start this caucus on mental health issues. We are in the infancy of really trying to help people with mental illness. We're in our infancy. There was so much
Do you think those who are talking for stricter gun control measures would go along with this? Or are they going to continue to push even harder? And I'm wondering what's going to happen. I mean, if there continues to be an outcry here, and they continue to push this, that is the legislature, even though you're Republican dominated, you're going to come up with more of this. We're going to infringe on the Second Amendment. As a citizen, I think we all wonder about those things.
Well, I can say this. I don't know if the people protesting if this would mean anything to them, but that doesn't matter. This is something that Tennessee needs to do. All legislatures, all state legislatures need to have a mental health caucus and a focus on mental health. All of us do. And, whether it satisfies people who want gun control, I don't know if it will or not, and that's not the goal. The goal is to help families who are caring for a loved one with severe and persistent mental illness, and help those with severe and persistent mental illness live a better life. And what can we do to help make that happen? We want to help them live a healthy life. And it's so hard. It's so hard for families who have a loved one with a severe and persistent mental illness, because you don't always know what the resources are. You don't know what the right thing to do is. You don't know who you should talk to, can talk to, all of that. And then the medical team, they don't share a lot of information. There are papers, though, that people can sign. Not a lot of people know about that. There's always getting a conservatorship over your loved one who has a severe and persistent mental illness, so that you can help make decisions for them, medical decisions and other decisions. So I really think that's where we need to go in this tragedy. But honestly, the whole week, it's just the week that was in Tennessee. I've never seen anything like it. Like I said, the 6 people killed in the car accident, the 9 soldiers killed, the tornadoes, 15 people, and then the precious people at the Covenant School who were killed. They say there's 6 degrees of separation between all of us. I know family members of a couple of the kids that were killed, and it's just so heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? What's the week look like at this point that you'll be doing in the House?
So caucus meeting today, we will decide, start making decisions about what we should do, about the disorderly conduct. I do want to say that last week, Mount Juliet received $2.5 million for water infrastructure grants, and I was proud to announce that for Mount Juliet. And then also, we have, since 2018, given $550 million to public schools for safety. This year in our budget, we already had $50 million in there to address school safety. And don't be surprised if we don't open committees, the education committees back up and have more ideas. There are ideas percolating about school safety, and I think they're really good ideas. In fact, Lieutenant Governor McNally came out with a whole list of ideas. Absolutely wonderful. And then we passed the Transportation Modernization Act last week. $3.3 billion is going from the general fund to the highway fund for projects this coming budget year. That is more than doubling TDOT's budget. $300 million of that is just for our local governments, for them to use, and then it's $750 million per in all 4 TDOT transportation regions. So we are trying to address these needs, but also in that bill was the choice lanes. And now if there will be choice lanes, it's a long way off. So going forward next year, we're probably going to have to allocate more money from the general fund to the highway fund.
All right, will some of this go for maintenance of roads, I hope?
Yeah, right now about half of TDOT's budget annually goes for maintenance of roads, and so I'm sure you're worried about some potholes, aren't you? And remember, are they on a local road or a state road? This $300 million extra is going to help our local roads.
This is kind of an
to our local
unprecedented
governments.
thing, is it? You've never taken that much out of the general fund to go to for roads.
No, last year we did take $600 million out of the general fund and gave it to the highway fund so that we could use it on roads. And of course, we're all seeing things, worsen and worsen, and, the congestion and the safety and all of that. And so I was going to motion for $2 billion. Boy, oh boy, the governor just came out and said $3.3 billion.
That's billion with a B.
Billion with a
That's
B.
lot of money.
And boy, was I happy during his State of the State address when he said that. I was hoping for $2 billion, and the governor far exceeded that. So I'm really, really happy about that.
Well, certainly thank you for being with us today. We've covered a lot of territory here, a good report, and we appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
State Representative Susan Lynn, that is part one of Coleman and Company, but we've got more, and we hope you'll keep it here, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:29. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford Lifetime Brake Pad Guarantee. With the purchase of a brake service, replacement brake pads will be provided at no cost for as long as the customer owns the vehicle. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. All in all, not too bad as far as interstate accidents, at least out here in the last couple of hours. Traffic still moving right now, 65 as we check it out live. Southbound at Trinity Lane. That'll get a little bit busy there in the next few minutes, working your way down through that section of East Nashville. I-40 up by the airport. That's on the increase coming past, let's say, Donaldson Pike. Coming in from Mount Juliet has increased also westbound I-40. Nash Painting. They want you to know they service all of Middle Tennessee. They're number one in residential and commercial. Check them out today at nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
When it's more than just your lawn, it deserves the Kubota Z400. Get a head-turning offer on class-leading speed, agility, simple deck height adjustments, and a quality cut. When you need comfort and performance, then you need the professional-grade Kubota Z400. Right now, get the Kubota Z400 mower for 0 down, 0% APR for 48 months, or save $300. Now through March 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon.
A bit of an unsettled weather pattern for us as we start another work week. We will be partly cloudy today, heading for a high of 72 this afternoon, but there are chances for thunderstorms later today and again on Tuesday. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number one Ned.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us here, and welcome to part two on a Monday morning. Billy Mullinax joins us this morning, as he does every Monday morning, to talk about Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
It is nice to see you, as always.
It's always my pleasure to be here.
Pretty nice morning, a little bit overcast, and maybe a little rain in the forecast, but it's not cold.
At least it's not snow, Coleman.
Well, of course, you're located. That is Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 600 Pleasant Grove Road in Mount Juliet. Billy Mullinax is the general manager and is with us each Monday at this time to tell us the latest. And what is the latest? You're selling cars.
Well, we had a great March.
Good.
April got off to a really good start on Saturday. New car inventory, Coleman, we are in the 90s. On new cars right now, so
that's a switch from
yes,
6 months, a year ago.
Absolutely. So we do have a pretty good selection of vehicles right now. So if people are starting to think about maybe vacation time, maybe new vehicle time. Come by and take a look at what we got. We've got about 140 pre-owned vehicles. So, between all of them, you've got, about 230. So surely we've got something that if you're interested in vehicle, we could put you in.
Well, I bet you do. And, of course, it's always nice to go by, but you don't even have to do that to see that entire inventory, because the new and pre-owned cars you can see at MountJulietCDJR.com.
Might even see your neighbor there, Coleman.
Yes. MountJulietCDJR.com. And, how much do you have to do with that website? You're the general manager, so it's done to your approval, of course. But do you have much to do directly with that?
Have some direction on that, Coleman. We do have kind of people that specialize in digital marketing, of course, and. But I have input and can make changes to it. But you have people that are specialists because they're specialists, right, and so usually I kind of go along with what they recommend.
But one thing you're not going to allow, and that is to require somebody to have to leave their personal information because they visit your website.
Well, that's right.
Or click on it a certain way to get a certain price.
That's right. And that's one thing that I've always been very insistent on, that we are not going to leave a blank price or something where people don't know what the price is until they send their information in. We're not going to do that.
Well, I hope your customers appreciate that, and I think they do.
Yeah, I think they do. They want to be able to go there and look and see what the price is going to be.
Well, you still have a pretty good selection of pre-owned cars as well.
Yeah, so we've got about 140 right now, Coleman. So yeah, pretty good selection. I wish we had a few more, in all honesty, but we had a great month for pre-owned last month, so our numbers are down just a little bit. So we've got to get it beefed back up. I would love for us to have about 180 right now.
Mm-hmm. When somebody does a trade-in, I guess you don't necessarily put that on the lot, but some of them, no doubt, you do if they're worthy. I would imagine there's a certain criteria you got to go.
There he is, Coleman. I mean, there's some vehicles that we have our technicians that recondition the vehicles that we trade for or that we buy. But sometimes it's just not. It's not. First of all, may not be cost effective to try to keep everything. Mm-hmm. It may need a lot more repairs than what you can put into it. Other times you just don't really see that you can make a good vehicle out of it no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm. Well, some people are like me, they run them till the wheels come off and they're not worth much but for the junkyard.
That's right. You're a good example of that, Coleman. You old tight wad.
I plead guilty.
Yep.
What else is going on? What else you want to talk about?
Well, Coleman, let me think here. What do we want to talk about this morning? Of course, our service department. They're there and to take good care of people. Something that we do now, we do make appointments for oil changes. If somebody, we didn't do that for a lot of years, but we make appointments now because, a lot of people enjoy not having to make an appointment, but there's some people that like being able to say, I'll be there at 8 o'clock and I want to get my oil changed and know that, they're going to be out, at a relatively quick pace. Mm-hmm. We do still take walk-ins for oil changes, but...
So you have your choice. You can make an appointment or just walk in.
Yep.
If you walk in, it may be a little bit longer. If you've got a 10:30 appointment, you're going to get right on it, aren't you?
That's right.
Yeah. Well,
that's right.
As
best that we can. Sometimes, sometimes it's, I kind of compare it to a doctor that's doing surgery. the one in front of you might be a little more difficult than what they thought.
Yeah.
And so you don't want him to rush on you, so you really don't want him to rush on that one in front of you either.
But your wait time is not as long as some doctors.
That's right. That's right.
I got to get that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we appreciate you coming here every Monday. We do have a lot of fun. It's
Yes,
an
we do.
enjoyable 5 or 6 or 7 minutes.
That's right. It's a whole lot of fun, Coleman.
Well, we always tell them 600 Pleasant Grove Road over there by Walmart and Academy Sports is on the easy side.
The easy side of Mount Juliet, Coleman.
All right. Well, I hope you'll pay Billy and his good people to visit this week and visit that aquarium again. Another one of the things.
That's right.
It's unique. It's probably unique for Wilson County. I don't know of any other car dealership that's got one here.
I'm confident there's not one in Wilson County. I don't know.
Maybe even Middle Tennessee.
Maybe even Middle Tennessee, but I know there's not one in Wilson County. So come see it.
Aquarium. How big? How many gallons?
3,000 gallons.
Wow. All right. Billy's pride and joy.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
See you
you,
next
Coleman.
time. Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram 600 Pleasant Grove Road. Billy Mullinax is the general manager. Okay, 21 before the hour, and Sheriff Robert Bryan joins us this morning. His monthly visit on the first Monday of each month, and today is April the 3rd already. Robert, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
It's good to see you. Yes, I'm doing fine, and you and I probably have a lot just of current events to talk about.
You and Representative Lynn had a lot to talk about.
Representative Lynn was spelling out all the things that have happened this week, and not that I had forgotten them exactly, but when she just listed them one after the other, and that is true. It was not a good week.
No, I was listening coming in, and like I was the same way when she started naming every one of them. I was like, a lot of stuff went on last week.
Yeah,
a lot of bad stuff, sad stuff, and it's a rough time.
Well, let's see. I believe this school shooting was Monday.
Right.
So we started the week. How did that affect you and all the people at the sheriff's department? Do you hear about that? That's in Davidson County. It's not your jurisdiction. I mean, if you'd been asked to help, if there's some way you could, I'm sure you would. But basically, I guess you're like the rest of us. You're kind of an observer, waiting to see what's going on and what all happened.
Yeah, originally when it happened, we was observing, seeing what was going on through the media outlets and stuff like that, and yeah, we reach out to other agencies to assist if they need them. Metro Nashville's a good big size department, and it's. But after the fact, what happens after all this? And let me say this: the thoughts and prayers goes out to them families. It's just, kids should go to school and feel safe, and this has changed that. Our teachers should go to school and feel safe, and this has changed that. And it's sad. It's that we're having to deal with this. But after the fact, the way things in prior school shootings go, we look at what happened. We look at why it happened, and we look at how to prevent it. It's we use it as a training tool, a learning tool, and I know that first day or two after that, we was already in contact with our local school systems and talking, and we got meetings set up, some today and some this end of this week to discuss what we're doing. You can't say you can't. There's always time to improve, okay? And if there's something that we see in this that we can do better, we'll do it. Some things that the school systems can do better, I'm sure they'll do it. And the legislature, same way. There's some things that they can do. So
had this was a private school.
Correct.
Private schools usually however much money they have for school. A lot of private schools probably don't feel like they could hardly afford a officer there, school resource officer. Public schools, nearly all of them have. Had they had that, this would have probably been different, though.
Well, we we can't guarantee it would have been different, but it is a deterrent when an SRO or a patrol car is parked out there in front of the school. It's it could have, Coleman. I can't say it would, but it appears that school was targeted to that school. Is to what I'm seeing, we've got private schools in this county.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into, what aspects they do or what of their security plans. I'm not going to go into that, but we work with them, and we're going to continue to work with them. And actually, we've reached out to them since all this, and the governor actually signed some legislation Thursday or Friday, maybe it was Friday, where private schools can contract with the local law enforcement to put SRO in them schools. So
you think that may be something of the future?
Well, I would like to present that, let them see that and say what they do. But that would be their decision if they want to, contract out, and if not, we'll continue to work with them and try to keeping kids safe.
Well, we're about a minute away from a break here. What any much damage from the storm that passed through Friday night?
I mean, we're like, as I said earlier, we're luckier in most of these other counties. We've been through this 3 years ago,
right? And
we had the normal trees down, and stuff like that. No loss of life, but one county over, they had some serious problems over there, and they actually some loss of life. We've actually reached out to these other counties and sent some people over there to assist them as with what they needed, But in Wilson County was pretty fortunate.
Sheriff Robert Bryan is here. We've got more to talk about after we go to this break. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And at 7:44, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks, Absolute Kubota. Premium brands require premium parts and service. Contact Absolute Kubota's Elite Certified Service Department to schedule an appointment. 449-6171. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic's on the increase right now, coming up through Spring Hill on 65 going northbound through that section of Williamson County. A little bit of radar spotted earlier. I-40 out in parts of Mount Juliet, Wilson County. 65 south also wants to run a little bit heavy already down through Millersville. All that traffic coming in from Robertson County through that section of Sumner County. Hey, Princess Hot Chicken is catering. Check them out today at princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Have you ever wondered what the ministry of Jesus was really like? Now, thanks to Angel Studios, you can get a glimpse. The most successful crowd-funded series in history is coming to College Hills. By now, you've heard of or seen snippets of The Chosen, but maybe a busy schedule has kept you from enjoying it without interruption. Beginning Sunday afternoon, April 16th, and for 8 weeks following, College Hills will be hosting this outstanding portrayal of the life and ministry of Jesus. There will be no formal worship time or collection. The event is free and open to the whole family. Following the showing, there will be a Q&A led by members of College Hills and other faith communities. Join us for light snacks and beverages at 4:30 p.m. and for the 1-hour showing at 5 p.m. Reignite your passion for the Savior of the world and expand your knowledge of His mission. Once again, that's April 16th, 5 p.m. at the College Hills Church of Christ on Leeville Pike in Lebanon, Tennessee. Come and see for yourself. Visit collegehills.org for more information.
Coleman Company, thanks for joining us. Sheriff Robert Bryan is with us. Now, I'm going to go to you like I did with Representative Leon. I mean, there's people that are calling for stricter gun control measures and this sort of thing, and some are very adamant about it. And I wonder how you, as a law enforcement officer and sheriff, feel about this. Do we need stricter gun control?
I listened to the past 30 minutes of Representative Lynn talking, and I agree with her wholeheartedly. This is not a gun issue. This is a mental health issue. Everything points to the mental health stability of that woman, and it's that's some of the things that we need to address as a state and as a nation. We deal with mental health every day in law enforcement, and we see it. And it's what's driving a lot of this stuff.
Don't you have quite a bit of training and a lot of emphasis put on how to deal with people when they're in that state of mind?
Yes, it's required. I mean, over the past 5-6 years, the training requirements that relates to all the other stuff we have to do, plus they've added this mental health training. It trains them how to deal with these people because it's because sometimes they can be dangerous. A lot of times, and but there's a lot of mental health problems out there. And we deal with them every day until we fix that problem. We've got to figure that out.
You think this idea maybe of having a caucus?
I heard her say that, and my question, and I said since last week, what are the parents saying? Okay, we deal with people all the time, in households where the parents are not involved with their children and don't have they're not engaged, and I think that's a good idea. What are the parents saying in this? Because they've dealt with it. I don't know what the parents did or did not do. I don't know if they'd ever come down there and talk to them, but. If they would, I'd like to pick their brain, figure out what they saw in their child, and what they didn't see, and what they did do and didn't do.
Well,
they lived in the same house, Coleman. They lived in the same house. Yep. They had to know what their daughter was doing.
I can't help but think that this problem is going to get worse before it gets better.
It's a very possibility. I mean, it could, but we've got to start addressing it to figure out, how to at least slow it down or curb it. And but it goes back. It goes back to the home. Okay, I always said everything goes back to the home, and talk to your kids, talk to your family members. Don't just let it go in one ear and out the other, because something could happen. So.
Well, I know that there people are concerned, people are upset, and I can understand that. But when they start thinking that the gun control is the whole answer, I think there's so many of us who just totally disagree with that.
I do. I agree. I disagree with that. And I understand the people's right to protest and voice their opinion. And but what happened down there in Nashville the other day at the legislature is uncalled for. Sit down around the table and talk about it, but don't just sit there and do that type of stuff.
Well, now they're actually calling for, I guess, high school children to skip school.
Now, how much sense does that make? We're going to put people, we're going to protect our kids, okay? But we're going to tell them to walk out of their school and walk down the road, ain't no telling how far, to walk to the Capitol. Okay, yeah. How much sense does that make? And a lot of school systems have said, if you want to protest or whatever, do it in house or do it, on the school property. But a lot of this other nonsense is just, that's what it is, nonsense.
Well, do you feel like somebody is sending the wrong message? Not only the protest thing, but I mean even the gun control issue, the wrong message to these younger people.
I think they are. We just need to keep level minds here and get through this. This has happened before. We don't want it to never happen again. And but there has to be some level heads around the table talking to figure this out instead of all this shouting and hollering at each other.
Well, I wish we didn't even have to discuss these things, but it is what's going on, and I'm afraid if some of the root causes aren't addressed here, it's going to get worse and continue to get worse.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what. After all that happened, I'll tell you what we experienced here in Wilson County, and they did all across the state. I've been on the phone with sheriffs all across the state because the problems they was having after the fact, these false 911 calls or reports of violence of guns in schools. We had one Wednesday, we had one Friday that somebody called in and said there was a shooting at school and all this.
You had two.
I've had two.
Calls.
I've had two, and it's and people. I don't know. They after all that happened, they just think they're going to cause more chaos, and it did. It caused chaos because people are already scared, but some idiot wants to call in a fake gun call, and we still have to act, but it's just pure idiots.
Do you know who it was?
We have traced it, and there was a lot of the calls that one of them we do know who it was. One of them was a out of state, maybe out of country call that was spoofed. And I will assure parents this: go find out what your kids are doing because they're on these phones and they're doing this type of stuff. But we're going to charge them. Okay, they're going to get charged.
Robert, you and I have both been a lot younger than we are now, and we, as teenagers, maybe very young adults, we probably did some things we wouldn't do now. And some of this, even 40 years ago, would be more of a joke. It's no joke whatever to this today.
Coleman, we didn't have social media or cell phones then either.
Right.
So I can't say if we'd had them back then. I don't know. You never know.
But
times have changed.
Think of this is serious stuff, and it's got to be dealt with. And you find out who's done this. There's some penalties if there.
Yes, there is penalties. The school system standing ground to their ground, and the kids get expelled, and we'll just work through it, and they'll get charged.
You've almost, if you catch somebody doing this, you've almost got to make an example out of them.
No doubt, and we're going to. You got to.
It's not funny.
That's not. And just people just, we have them periodically throughout the year, but, once and the way it works, once we get them calls in to 911 or the school or whatever, we act on it immediately. 99% of the time by that afternoon or that night of the call, we've got it pinpointed where it come from. We've got the kid or whoever in tow at their parents' house or guardian's house, and we're inside the house trying to see if there is any guns. 99% of the time, a lot of these kids don't have access to guns, but they're still doing this, wreaking havoc across all these schools.
And they are taking the time of you people in law enforcement when you could be doing what you're supposed to be doing, not having to deal with some junk like this.
And they're taking time away from the number one safety, but they're taking times away from these kids and teachers being in school for what they're supposed to be doing. They're all doing something else. They're sidetracked over here worried about what's some idiot, I keep saying idiot, some guy or whoever calls in a fake call.
Well, hopefully common sense and will prevail. And but one of the best deterrents probably is to make an example out of a few.
Yes.
And what is the worst case scenario?
They'll be charged with our juveniles. They'll be through juvenile court, and it's. I'm not saying jail time for juveniles. I'm just saying they'll be prosecuted to the fullest.
Well, you got to make them wish they hadn't done it,
right? And we got to make their parents understand they shouldn't have done it either, because a lot of time, majority of the time, we go in there and again we go in these houses and I don't know what little Johnny's been doing.
Yeah, well, that sort of reminds me of something my daddy told me years ago. I may not keep you from doing something, but I'll make you wish you hadn't.
That's right. And remember, the next time you think about it.
Well, what can we end on a positive note this morning? What about your jail and the building? That's pretty much done.
It's done. Like I said, we'll be moving in here probably next couple of 2 or 3 weeks, and you just can't move every inmate over into that building. You've got to do it. You got a procedure you got to follow to make sure you keep control when they don't go in there and tear up the new building. So you got to do it the right way, and we're in the planning phase of that right now.
Well, the fact that you have done this once or twice before is probably to your advantage.
A little bit. It's helped. Plus, I've got good people working for me that's been through it, and it'll be a great move whenever we get to be
Well,
able to
let
do it.
me ask you this. You spent several years pretty much being the man in charge of the jail there, I guess under Sheriff Ash.
Right.
Who do you have? You have somebody that does what you used to do?
Yes, Major David Bennett. He was here one time before with me. I may bring him out here again. Yes, he's been in that role for about 7-8 years, I think. Does a great job. Really involved in this jail expansion. He understands it. Okay, a lot of people don't understand jails. They think they do, and they think they want to do, won't, but they really don't. It's not just about throwing them in jail and blocking them up. It's a lot more to it, and he understands it. He's got good people under him helping him. But David's helps me a lot.
He's not the only one that understands it. You understand it because you've been there and done that.
He's learned it pretty good, so took a lot off me. So
well, things going overall really well as far as your jail goes.
Yeah, and Lance Howell, he's another one that was. Don't want to leave him out. Played a big role in this expansion. But it's a big move, and we're ready to do it. What's on your agenda this week? We got a minute here. Going to the school board tonight. Got some meetings today about school safety. Tomorrow about school safety, and today's Monday. We'll figure out how the rest of the week goes.
But school safety is kind of the big issue.
It's the big issue right now.
Well, I hope we can make some good decisions here, and even if there needs to be more money appropriated by the legislature, and according to Senator Pody last Friday, I mean he's all in favor of this. Sounds like a lot of people are. We want to.
And I'll say this: some counties are not as fortunate as Wilson County. I've said that before, but in Wilson County we're fortunate with our school systems and the counties working together, and we're way ahead of some of these counties.
All right, that's a good note to end on. Yeah. Thanks for being with us. We always appreciate getting to see you.
Yes, sir. Coleman, have a good day.
Sheriff Robert Bryan. That's it for a Monday. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. And until then, I wish you a magnificent day.